Hello and welcome to another episode of the Ninth Warhounds podcast. We're back. I'm here with MrKingKnoxy himself today. We've had a lot of people have questions about the organization, different changes that we've made, different requirements that are now involved with the Ninth Warhounds. And obviously, in our minds, it makes sense. I know some people might have some questions. So that's why we decided the best way to resolve any of this issues would be to have Noxy on to, reintroduce himself and also inform everyone, hey, this is what we got going on. So without further ado, hello, Mr. King Noxy. And let's just start off with, we can do, what made you want to bring the organization back into the limelight?
Well, it never deserved to go in the first place. That's what I view it as. So when we left, right? Initially my leaving was, the thought process is I have to take care of family. My family's okay, so essentially asking for the property back, which I got back, thankfully. So now that I got it back, we can start working on some things.
And so we're back. I feel like it's better than ever. Um, in the end, there things got kind of hectic because so much stuff was going on at one time. Obviously, you said having the issues with the health of your family is the most important thing, and that's one thing I do know that was always pushed with the organization. I had been in other organizations prior that were. It felt almost like it didn't matter what you had going on in your life. People don't realize. There are some people who are trying to become professional gamers, but in the most part, people have lives, things happen. It is what it is. And this organization wasn't really pushing anyone to be like, hey, this is what's going on, this is what you need to do no matter what happens. But there are some new regulations and some new things that we're doing to make sure that this organization is as successful as possible, while also making sure everyone gets a benefit out of it. Some people do have different ideas of what their version of success is, and that's we want to make sure that when you look at the organization as a whole, you want to make sure that you can fit into this different. So if you want to be social media wise, you want to be a gamer, whatever, I think we have the organization set up basically to be successful for any of those people. Um, so now I'll have you basically introduce, um, I would say for you, uh, the main changes were the contracts, the NDAs, and then also the fee. Now the fees, if those don't know, it's $20 a month, which I think that was actually an amazing idea because it maintains the Discord, and you know people don't realize there's servers, there's other things that go into managing an organization. So
Right.
if you have a website and you're going through a free website domain, it's not going to be as great as it could be. And this gives us the opportunity to, put back into the organization and also give yourself a platform because, I mean, when we were in the height of when the first round, I think we got like what 7 or 8 people to affiliate on Twitch alone,
Oh,
just
easily.
by, and it was that when yeah, and it was like the first week, people were like, yeah, I need this many viewers, and then basically it was, hey, we're hosting this person, and that's what this organization is all about. It's not about me. It's about us. It's about you know, I mean, I'm lucky enough. I'm on the West Coast. I know you're Midwest East, correct? So it's easier for certain people, like, hey, I'm streaming at 10 o'clock at night Western time. So I'm going to make sure I don't overlap with this person. And it would all worked out fantastically. I think that was probably, there was like a month span where we were just every single week, every single day, we were focusing on one person and doing that. So I'll have you go personally go into more about the changes that were made, and I guess we can try to explain them in more layman's terms or as more generic as possible because some people do have some questions.
So, all right. So let's start with like just joining process, right? So before, like you said, we were very focused on, basically just gaming in general, specifically competitive gaming. Like, we were going after those guys that, wanted to play in a league and play, competitively and earn money playing the game. If they get wins, they make money. Um, the flaw came right away. Basically, what happened here is we started picking up these guys, and instantly, we came into the problem where it was an everyday problem where people just wanted the free jersey. Like they're like, hey, if we join, do we get the jersey for free? I'm like, that's not really how it works, my guy. Like, you're a day, you just came in day one. I can't just give you $100 jersey for nothing.
Yep.
Like, like I'm not trying to be rude by saying that, but at the same time, everybody here is like working towards something. So I can't just be like, what, everybody gets jersey. That's not fair, especially to the people that are working hard.
Right.
So right away I saw that problem. Also we have a problem when it comes to quality. So we have these guys where they only have like 10 followers, they have no production, they don't have any sense of, team or camaraderie or anything like that. And right away, we have to tell them, hey, like that's not how we operate. This is not a good look. Obviously people, get angry about that and upset, and that's understandable. But at the same time, I'm put on a pedestal, so if you're a part of my team, you're also on that pedestal.
Right.
Like it's one of those things where it's like, okay, like you expect a lot from me, I have to expect a lot from you.
Correct.
It's a two-way street. So right away, after doing all the changes that we did with Ninth Warhounds recently, we cut out that whole quality gap. So if you go to Ninth Warhounds now, there's an application process. Basically, I get your information, I look at you, and right away, if I could tell that you're going to be a problem, it's it's a no-go. Like, and I hate to be that way, but at the same time, you're joining in not just, a team. You're joining into a partnership. I have to invest in you, and therefore you have to invest in us. And that's what it says basically in the contract.
And it's also very important too, because most, I have like there's a thing called a brand ambassador app. So it's basically all these ambassadors, different brands. You do have challenges, you do whatnot. In order just to get accepted, you have to submit all of your followers. I mean, from every single aspect. So if you have YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, they're even doing that now when you audition for movies. They'll have your headshot on the back. It'll have your follower count. And I've heard a lot of comedians joke about it, but I've seen it. I've seen them show like, look, this is their follower account, this is their reach, this is how they're going to promote. And I 100% agree. I bring the aspect of us. I've said, when I came back, I have my own podcast. Is what I'm doing weekly basis already. So it's not like I'm sitting here and I'm not. I know what I'm doing when it comes to the podcasting aspect of it. But I will say there's a lot of gaming people that either they wanted to come in, no offense to some people, but there's some of these tournaments that they have that are they quote unquote invite you. That's not getting invited. It's literally just some sort of thing to blow smoke to make people feel like they're important, so eventually they'll spend money on the sponsors. And that's the big
Right.
problem I have is like people don't realize when you watch Husker's stream and he does his 2v2 tournaments that he hosts, he only gets the best in those 2v2 tournaments. There is not anyone that's going to one damage his brand or two cause an issue via cheating, hacking, whatever. And we're trying to go along the same lines and make sure not only are we bringing quality people in, but they're quality people that can benefit every single person in the organization, while also us benefiting them. And it's like you said, it's a mutual agreement that I
Right.
feel people don't
And
often understand.
it's also to understand, like, I'm not knocking on people whatsoever, but you got to have a pretty level head when it comes to doing this kind of stuff because I hate to say this, but uh the other day we had an incident, where someone leaked a business email.
Yeah, in a
And
very public way.
very public way. I'm not going to say who it is, just because, I'm not that type of person. But it's one of those things where it goes, we can't have that for one. This is a business email. This is, business conversation. I really don't like having business conversation out there just because, that means numbers are involved, math is involved, people, tend to get a little cynical when things start going that way. And it's really rough to say, but at the same time, there's a level of professionalism there where you go, okay, these are the numbers I'm willing to share, and these are the people I'm willing to share it with.
Right.
If you cross that line, which we've actually had this before, there's one individual that was a part of the ninth a long time ago. uh, I was willing to share some data about one of our social platforms, and they didn't really believe that we had the following that we did, and the people that we did, and the hits that we did. And I was like, look, I'm willing to share the data with you. I'll show it to you. And I showed, what I was willing to share. And he goes, no, I want all of it. I want all your user data from the website. I want all that. And I'm like, yeah, no, that's a line that you're just not going to cross.
Yeah, no.
Like, I'm not going to share my user data with you just because you demand it. Like, I'm sorry, it's just not going to happen.
And that's also an issue too, like you said, because there is other stuff in there that doesn't pertain to anything that they would need to know. And
Exactly.
I know, and the guy, so the issue we had with the leak was kind of funny because the whole thing started off by the person saying that he's not the kind of person that would, he's not going to reveal who it is, and then he mentions your name in the like 10 seconds later, and so
Literally, me and Queen
and
were actually having a conversation about that. He was like, well, I'm not going to say any names, but Noxy and the
yeah,
Ninth. And I'm like,
yeah,
what?
that's what we're trying to avoid. And I take pride in the fact that when things did get kind of the kibosh to begin with, and you weren't even around when everything went downhill, you weren't around. You came in, you just said, hey, this is it, this is what's going to happen. And that's what I think people don't realize is they're questioning stuff, but you weren't even around when all the stuff that kind of went haywire. And this is, like we said, this is what we're trying to do right now. We're trying to fix the mistakes that happened in there that made everything
Yeah.
collapse.
So
And
when the first collapse happened, I'm just going to be completely transparent here, guys. I put Bridges, Stone Thor, Mike, and Forsaken as, the owners, right?
mhm,
I said, look, I'm stepping away. These guys got the control, and it's going to be a very bumpy start, but they're going to figure it out, right? The cynicism started right away. It under personal messages and direct messages and
yeah,
everything like that, it started right away. Publicly, they weren't saying anything to me, but I already knew. I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that one out. Um, I understood that. I said, look, I know you guys are skeptical and everything like that, but I'm going to give them their fair shake. Like, yes, this was totally my project. Yes, this was totally my team. But at this moment, I cannot fulfill your obligations. Like, I'm trying to make this as best as I can for everybody. Um, right away, I felt like there were some people that were actively trying. I know Mike was trying. I know Stone was definitely trying. So we're gonna have a conversation about Stone here in a second because that's quite the conversation. But I know Stone was definitely trying. I do not, discredit him one bit with that. Forsaken, I think he was having some family issues at the time.
Yeah, shortly after everything happened, someone in his family was I think murdered. Actually, I think it was his
Yeah.
brother. So it was actually he had and basically he actually and the crazy part was he was around up until about I think things started getting heavy with that whole
Yeah.
situation. So yeah,
So things got really heavy with him and things got very personal with him, right?
right,
So I just let him breathe. I don't, I'm not going to pressure him to do something right now, especially when he's got a lot going on.
right,
Like I just let him breathe. I still let him breathe. That's how much of a breather I'm giving him. Um, I respect him as a person and I always will. If he ever wants to reach out to me, that door is always open,
hmm
you know. Um, Same thing with all these other guys. Bridges, he has given me back, property of ninth. Mike is still here.
yep,
So Mike is technically an owner, but he's literally told me, he just wants the title.
right,
So I was like, okay, if you just want the title, I'm just going to let you know. You're going to be like everybody else and pay your fair share.
hmm
And he said, I have no disagreement with that. So that's what it was.
yeah,
So, so Mike is an owner, but he's paying his share.
right,
Um, Stone. Stone is a bit of a beast right now. Um, and I say this, with the nicest intentions possible, but before I even asked for the property back, I have been streaming a little bit. I've been doing
hmm
a little bit of grail runs on Diablo.
right,
Um, my Twitch affiliate is probably, a few years in now, and I have like 4,000 plus followers on my Twitch account and everything like that. So
hmm
I do set up pre-roll ads on my Twitch channel. All right. I don't want to micromanage ads. I don't care about them. And if anybody gets upset about having ads on my channel, I just tell them either subscribe or go find another streamer. I don't know
right,
what to tell
yeah.
you. um, I don't want to deal with all that micromanaging stuff because I'm already dealing with an org. I'm already dealing with family. Just the fact that I'm even streaming is nothing short of a miracle, guys.
It's just one more thing to add to the everything else.
Right. So I just don't want to do that, right? Um, Stone came in there and he was complaining about the ads. So I just told him the same thing I told everybody else. I'm treating everybody evenly, whether you've been my friend for multiple years or not. Um, I'm running pre-roll ads, and that's the way it is because I don't want to micromanage it. I looked into it for Stone, and I was like, yeah, that's just more effort than what it's worth to me. So I'm not doing that. He kind of basically just rage quit the stream. All caps, you're doing it for money. And I was like, yeah, that's really not the answer here, but whatever.
Yeah,
uh, so I just told him, I was like, look, man, I tried it your way. I didn't like it. So it is what it is. Um, Stone right now has his own team. What is it? Deviant Phoenix or whatever. I
yes,
can't think of the
yes,
name of it. So Deviant Phoenix has a lot of the old members of the Ninth Warhounds in it.
yes,
This is fine. Like I don't look at Stone and go, "Oh, you're my competition." I don't. Just I don't. Um, Stone explicitly said he wants nothing to do with the Ninth, which is fine. Okay, and he said I had no problems with bringing this back up. Okay, cool. Um, Day one of the Ninth Warhounds coming back, Stone Thor already blocked the Ninth Warhounds and me. So I'm just keeping it as that. I'm like, you don't want any involvement with the Ninth Warhounds, then you're not going to have involvement with the Ninth Warhounds. So the block is now mutual. All right. So
hmm
I blocked him. I have heard through the grapevine that there are some words said by Stone, basically saying that me coming back is a problem, and the Ninth Warhounds he never should have joined in the first place. It was a mistake, and Okay, man. I mean, if that's the way you want to be, then that's the way you're going to be. Like, there's no control I have over that.
Right.
I fully brought you on as a part of the project, because you were for years one of my top guys. Like for years you've always been helpful to me. You've always been supportive of me. So if you went out, you went out. Like I have no ill will towards that.
Right.
Um, Same thing with the situations we have now. Okay. Um, yes, our members are under contract. Yes, there is an NDA. No, they're not allowed to speak about numbers and business and everything like that. That's just, us being as professional as we possibly can. Um, the reason why I don't want these guys talking about this is not because I want to censor them. I'm doing this because when that person applies, they're going to have a one-on-one session with me, and I go, okay, this is what it is. This is how we're doing it. These are the numbers. You know, I want everybody to be on the same page and everybody to understand what it is we're doing.
Right. And I think people often misconstrue the aspect of an NDA because they always hear about them with famous people and they'll, hey, I went to a house party, I had to sign an NDA kind of thing. This is more of the aspect of if you have NDAs in a group like this, you actually are able to be an open book more because you're actually sharing information. And if you
Yes.
want to be willing to take the risk and say what you're going to say and expose it, well, that's then now you just took a hit, but it also makes it where everything is a lot more open. Personally, I feel that because guess what? You know, someone does great on a stream or you have some numbers you want to share with people from any kind of social media, then it actually, because me personally, knowing I did social media management, a lot of marketing, and I know that people are more successful when they know more things. So basically, if you're saying, "Hey, look, the Nine's doing great on TikTok. Let's go ahead and start pushing out TikToks like crazy. Send them over to, to Knoxy." But I think people see the NDA and the contract and they don't realize it's there for everybody. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not protecting you, it's protecting everyone
Right.
because there's also the aspect of, let's say for instance someone's struggling with some sort of social media. I could give out my entire strategy in chat alone on how I find the most success, and guess what, that to me is my strategic information that I know has worked for multiple people. But do I want that going out worldwide that, this is what I'm doing? Because someone might hate me and decide, hey, look, I'm going to go ahead and combat him or post something that's counteractive or, it's for whatever reason. It's my personal information that I'm now able to freely share as well because that NDA is going to cover myself as well.
Right. And this is also for not just for, the members' protection or my protection or whatever. This is protection between the conversations that we're having.
Exactly.
Because like, all right, greatest example of this is before the huge fallout, before the NDAs and everything like that. There was one person that I showed a lot of respect to, and someone that I, treated very fairly and as fairly as I possibly could. Um, they made a statement, which I'm sure they regret, but they threatened my life. Okay. I'm not going to take that lightly.
Nope.
So whether you think it's right or wrong, that's no longer a part of the discussion.
Right.
I'm not going to take that lightly. If you threaten me, it's over. So publicly, I'm able to post that threat.
Right.
You don't have an NDA with me. So now this just ruined that person.
Right.
Now, NDAs are kind of designed to get you sitting at the table and going, okay, where does the line of confidentiality actually exist?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if this person made a threat against my life, I'm still going to take it very seriously, right? But if he has an NDA, I'm going to sit there and go, okay, like, we need to actually talk right now because you're crossing a very bad red line. a line that nobody should ever have to take to begin with, but it keeps everybody on a level head. And it sucks that we had to go the route that we did when that happened, because I literally, like, I'm going to be honest, I'd shoot this guy out publicly. I was like, you're not going to do any of this.
Right.
You're just not.
And it does suck because people forget, when we do have, I'm older, so I don't take everything as seriously as some of these younger kids coming in thinking that they're going to be the next Nate Shot or, Scump. Like they all have aspirations, and you don't want to, in the heat of the moment, say something that's not protected. They always say everything lives on the internet forever, and that's true. So I think, like, people, like you said, they need to realize this is also protection for any individual that's actually joining the organization. Um, Now, we understand the NDA. Now, with the contracts, um, that's just holding people responsible. I mean, in reality,
Well,
and
yes and no. So the NDA is holding mostly everything responsible, right? So
right,
like even if you quit us, the NDA is still active.
correct,
All right. So that's just, that's business. All right. That's we're literally going, okay, everything we're talking about is business. You understand that, we understand that. Okay. The contract is going, okay, well, this is business, but this is a part of you now.
right,
Okay. So like this is where you benefit. Um, without sharing numbers, yes, creators are paid now, right?
right,
So now it's kind of like, okay, I had a lot of feeling, and this is something that I really regretted with the first initial part of the Warhounds, because I understood, guys, like I get it. You guys think like, I was dragging you in the ground and making you do these things and,
right,
just being
right,
really tough on you, right? That's not the case at all. Basically, what I was doing is setting up for the foundation of what is happening now.
right,
Like, so it's so rough to explain, but there are active fractures of what ninth gaming was, where,
right,
these people are like, I don't believe in this because we're not seeing this.
right,
I'm just like, you're not seeing it yet. One, because either A, you're very new, B, you have no business contract, C, you have no disclosures of, what you can and cannot share yet. So,
hmm
like, I can't just, throw you into an arena and be like, hey, this is what you're gonna do. You get free roam now. No, that's not the case. You all know this, like
hmm
FaZe Clan doesn't go out there and threaten people with lives, it just doesn't
Well, and I
happen.
think I think the big thing, people don't know. So when Noxy was talking about this, and when he approached me in the beginning, he went over everything before everything was active. We weren't promoting, we weren't saying anything. So that way there was the understanding. He had the support of me and Mike, and it was a good foundation. And so that everyone knows this, I'm under contract. I have the NDA. I have everything the same as everybody else. Even if I never gamed ever again, never streamed again, and just did the podcast, I am under the same boat. I have the same goals as every person in here. I want to promote the ninth. I want to promote every single person in the organization, and I want to make this the best organization it can be. And I think that the way we have it set up with the contract, with the application, even just the application alone. For those of you that are interested, there will be a link below in the YouTube video. If you go to the website, it has everything there. If you go to uh there it has everything laid out. And then you can even see, the application asks for certain things. If you don't feel comfortable signing an NDA or a contract, then this isn't the industry for you. Because let me tell you, there's a reason why all these videos get made. Speaking of FaZe Clan, whichever one of them was the one that got caught cheating on Fortnite, you know, he had an explanation for it. I believe him that he was screwing around because it was a backup account and he wasn't even trying to win. He, as soon as he did one thing, he would quit the game. And but guess what? Not a single player from that team has ever said any single comment about what happened in that incident. So he still has a career. He still has stuff going on. There could be an instance where you join, you're doing good for 6 months, and opportunity comes, you want to end your contract. I know Noxy doesn't have a problem with that because Noxy's about your benefit and who you are. But guess what? You can't be going around saying, "Oh, well, this is their game plan," because who knows? I did pest control for 10 years, and it was a very common practice for them to poach people from other companies. Half the time it was because they heard good things about you. Half the time it was because they want to know the business information from that other company because they want to attack their market. And I live in the state of California, and they cannot. So NDAs apply in California, but let's say, for instance, Noxy has 10 sponsors. In the state of California, the way it works is as long as I don't go straight to those 10 sponsors and say, hey, I want you to sponsor me, I had no problem. But that's what we're trying to stop here. We're trying to stop people from not, I wouldn't say exposing, but there, like you said, there's data, there's information that does not belong outside of the organization. And that's how every single company works. If you go, if you're 18, 19 looking to join, when you turn 25, 26, if this doesn't take off for you and you go work for an organization or a company, you have the exact same things you're going to be signing and you have the same goals. So whether you're wanting to make a name for yourself in gaming, streaming, doing whatever, or you want to make yourself a name in business, you're going to have the same exact requirements. I have a contract with my current job, and I don't have an NDA, but all the equipment that I use, everything is patented. So I can't, the NDA won't do anything to me. But there is an
Right.
agreement in my contract that says I can't disclose, proprietary information, stuff like that. And this is basically what it is. Um, I trust Noxy 100% because when he approached me back, I was like, wow, this is crazy. And then I read it and I'm like, this is amazing. And it is hard to understand for a lot of people who are younger because everyone hears, like I said, NDA means I'm going to Justin Bieber's house for a party and I can never tell anybody about anything I saw because that's all you ever hear is that's what it is. This is a lot
Right.
different. um I trust the process completely. Not gonna lie, I didn't even know about the guy exposing everything until it was already done, and then I saw everything and I was
Oh,
like,
that one literally just happened. So as I was saying
and
that stuff, like
well, and
it
I know
just happened.
this gentleman that was doing it, he literally exposes stuff like immediately. Like we went through everything and it was literally exposures like every 5 seconds. He's putting out information. It's almost like he hears he put out some information about a person he needed to quote unquote cut ties with because they were stalking him. And I was just like, there's this person is a lost soul, and obviously we had people like that in the organization before, and I feel like this process eliminates that person,
Yeah.
or you
So
maybe, hey, there's a role for that person potentially in the future.
so I just want to emphasize, this guy, like, he's not in trouble or anything
No,
like
no,
that.
no, 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 no,
Um,
no.
like what happened was, this guy, he said so in his podcast, right? He wanted to make some business moves with the Ninth Warhounds, right? I get that. Okay. So the first thing he did was he went to the business email, he sent an email, and he had this conversation with me. And I checked him out and I was like, look, man, I'm gonna be honest, your content is everywhere. Um,
Which
some things you're
he
saying,
did admit on the episode that he
yeah,
talked about
he,
us.
he he did admit it and he was very nice about it, and I
Hmm.
respect him for that, right? Like he was very nice about some things. Um, And I was like, look, the things are kind of everywhere, and I'm hearing some things in your content that I'm just not really comfortable with because it sounds very aggressive, very angry, and I mean, there's some things in there that, probably just shouldn't be put out in the world, like,
There was some sketch stuff, and in the business aspect of what we're doing, you also got to remember, if he's willing to do a podcast episode reading line by line the email that Noxie sent to him, which he agreed with almost everything in the email. um, how can you trust them to not expose things with an NDA? How are you going to, because here's the thing. We talk, in general in a podcast, you usually have a small conversation beforehand, just chatting it up, but also you want to know, hey, look, this is the direction we want to go with the episode. We want to stay away from this. We want to go to this. I don't really do that because I let my guests kind of just lead the way on this podcast, but there's no way that we would be able to have a person like that in the organization just for
Right.
liability
But
reasons.
but you're also like, you're very aware too. Like, all right, so give yourself some credit, right? So like when you're doing your podcasts, like, there's things where you go, okay, there's no way in hell I'm gonna have you on the podcast because you're
Right.
posting racist crap, like
Yeah.
it's
and
like,
that's
all right,
and
dude.
that's when people I think people fail to realize, like, when they reach out to you like, I want to be on the podcast, like, oh yeah, what's your handles? And like, I'm not going to go through and search your handles because I've had plenty of times where I because for those of you that don't watch reality TV, I just listen to podcasts about them. But when they bring people onto the Bachelor and Bachelorette, they purposely look through your Twitter, and the last 3 seasons they've had people who have made blatant racist comments or photos, and they were like, dude, a 12-year-old could find this on Twitter, and it's because they want that exposure. We don't. I'm not looking to have someone on here who's going to slip something in that I don't know because there's some sort of terminology that this terrorist group or whatever group they're working for,
Right.
so. And that's what our goal in moving forward is. We're not just holding you liable, we're holding ourselves liable, because we don't want to, like you said, it, I've learned in most businesses, unless you're an Apple, unless you're a huge company, there's so much room for potential for every single person, whether you're a part of this organization or part of that organization. So if you don't like the way our organization runs, hey, there's a handful of other ones out there for you. We want to make sure we have the exact right people. We do have, I mean, we have two more people signed right now, correct?
Well, there was currently two recently, the two ladies,
Yes.
and there are more in the pipeline.
And don't
Uh,
don't be crazy like, oh, I've submitted it today. It doesn't it ain't a day process. um I know there's some people that we already knew beforehand, and we have to work out kinks with those people usually because you want to make sure they're still in good standing and they haven't changed since you last talked to them. But it takes it takes a minute, and I
I mean,
guarantee
these
if
people
Noxy.
also have to realize, like, sorry to cut you off here,
No,
but
you're
they also have to realize, okay, there are some people that were actively in the Warhounds before that I will not consider bringing back. And
yeah.
I'm just going to be honest with that because there are some people in there that did some really dirty things.
And
And
well,
I
and
mean, they know who they are, but
there's a couple individuals who they played victim, and people don't realize I'm not I didn't play with many people because I didn't have the time. Most people on the East Coast were away from me, but they played the victim and didn't realize I was watching them stream, and I heard every single thing they said about the organization. So when you have something like that happen, there's no trust there because you're not going to pretend like something happened that didn't, and then cry wolf, and then there's no way that I can trust you. I'm not gonna want you in this organization, regardless of how good you are at whatever game you're playing. You know,
I get it. Like opinions are important. Like I
yes,
understand that. Like I fully understand that some of them were probably just giving feedback, but there were some that were actively like, if you don't fucking do this, I quit.
right.
Or if you don't, do this for me, then you're not an organization. And I'm just
Right.
like, excuse me, but uh this isn't all about you.
It's also difficult, the simple fact that we're not out here getting the Doctor Disrespects and Tim the Tatman's. That's we're not looking for that person. And what's funny is Tim the Tatman and Doctor Disrespect are two people that I watch frequently, who I know people who've met in person, who are the most personable, humble people. Doctor Disrespect obviously has a persona where he's super cocky, but he also is not going to be, you know, one upping you. So if you come in here having an ego like you are that person, that ain't gonna work, because that's not
No,
how
it's
you make
not.
the organization work or grow. Because trust me, people did that and look what happened. it literally fractured the entire organization. And, it was a very confusing time. Um, I kind of avoided everything. I pretty much stopped streaming right after everything went down because of life stuff that happened too, because I was just like, it left a bad taste in my mouth. And then, I kept in touch with a couple people that were in it. And, now we're back and we're having fun, and we have a
Yeah.
plan that's a lot more organized and also beneficial to all parties
So
involved.
I also want to say too, those people that did do those bad things or whatever, yeah, I mean, they're not coming back, right? But we're not actively attacking them either,
No, no.
like that's just not the business model.
I
That's
I even
not the
I've watched some
way
of them
things
stream
are
still.
handled.
I'll still check in on their streams every once in a while. I'm not that kind of person. Like, they're younger too. Like, if anyone's under the age 25, say something stupid, do something stupid. The pandemic screwed a lot of people up. So I'm going to give you the benefit of doubt. Like you said, I won't want you in the organization, but I'll keep tabs and be like, oh, you know what? They're doing pretty good. I'm going to give them a like. I'm going to, hey, look, you're doing good on this. The content, the editing, everything's going great. Maybe they'll learn their lesson and not say things the way they did before, and things will go great for them.
And a lot of it is just assumption too. Like,
Yep.
one of them, specifically said to me on Instagram the other day, they got tagged by our Instagram page, and uh, how do I explain this? It was a picture of me, right? So I got the conversation and everything like that. And in the picture, he basically responded, I can't see the picture, right? But the only thing it was saying was, Knife Warhounds is recruiting again and everything like that. So he said, I can't see the picture, but by the way, do you guys even have a structure anymore? What are you guys even doing anymore? And I'm just looking at him, I'm like, well, if you can't see the picture, how do you know we're back? How do you know we're recruiting? I'm like, literally, I didn't post anything yet. And you got this one picture that you claim you can't see, and you're just saying some pretty awful stuff. He was basically saying, like, I don't know what I'm doing and everything like that. And it was just like, how does this even add up?
And that's the problem, is they're just trying to be toxic. And I know that's
Yeah.
actually that's a thing now. Social media, being the toxic person, is in. And so that's what's tough, is you end up running into people like that. And like we've said, I'm sure there's going to be a person who puts up a good front or does something that might possibly get in through the application process. We're prepared to handle that every way we can. But I did this week want to bring in Knoxy, because I know Noxy's mentioned he's had people ask him questions about the process. And here's the
Mhm.
thing. Here's the thing. You don't worry about the contract or the NDA until you get past the application process, because there's nothing to worry about until you get it. You're going to get documents, read them through like I did, and that's the important part. And I'm not going to lie, Noxy even pointed out, hey, make sure you look at these three spots on the NDA, on the contract, because he knew exactly that's the only spots that people are going to want to read. And people
Yep.
don't, they make a mistake, because, hey, look, if you don't agree with it, don't sign it. He's not
Right.
sitting here going, you need to sign it, you need to do it. It's like, hey, this is what we want to do, this is what you have to do to join us. It's
So
up
the
to you.
last two ladies that joined, they both said, I want to look over the contract and I want to look over the NDA and make sure everything's okay, right? And I'm like, you could take all the time in the world.
Mm-hmm.
One person submitted their application. They got through that process. They got to the NDA, and they said, I'm kind of sketchy about this. And I was like, okay, well, if you're not ready, I completely understand.
Yep.
I'm not going to pressure you to do this. Never. I was like, the moment you say that you're ready, you will sign this, you will bring it back to me, and then we'll move on from there. And then we'll have the discussion. Like, it's not where, I'm trapping you into a cage. Um, Actually, in the contract, I can say this. In the contract, it says that you can terminate the contract whenever you want, right?
Yep. Yep. Yes, it does.
Like, literally, it goes, if you disagree, there's the door.
And
That's
that's what's funny is the biggest one you have to look at would be the clause that says that would be, most contracts would say you owe us this or this or that. That's why I think the combination of a contract and the NDA is the best of both worlds, because the NDA handles the business side of everything and the contract is very basic. If you guys do get through the process, you'll see the contract isn't saying you know, these big words that you're never gonna know. Like I don't like big words. I know what a lot of them mean, but I don't like them.
Yeah,
But
it's not
it's
perpetuity of your likeness and everything. Like, no, it's literally like,
which
hey,
which is important
this
because
is
people don't know this. People don't know this. Did you know if they contact you from like ridiculousness or anything like that and they use your video and it goes viral, they basically own every single video that you make under that username for the rest of your life. So it's very
yeah,
important to read the fine print and in perpetuity type stuff because that's what you got to look for. And that's why, when as soon as I read the contract, I was like, this is a no brainer. It's a win win. If the worst thing happens and I have to leave for whatever reason, or we have a falling out for something stupid, which I don't foresee, I don't have anything besides, hey, don't say anything that's happening in our private matters. How hard is that? Keep your mouth shut.
right.
It's the easiest thing.
It's literally going, okay, well, you disagree. You want to go one way, and we disagree. You want to go one way. Okay, so we'll just end it there.
Yep, that's the gist of it.
No harm, no foul.
And I think the big thing is people are harping on the NDA and contract stuff. Wait until you get through the application process, because the application process isn't like it was before. You're not letting
No.
every single person in. You can't let every single person in because if you don't do your research, you could be someone like uh I actually knew a guy. I met him, and he didn't even talk about his gaming channel, and he actually has a very significant following, and that's almost the kind of people we want, because anyone who's not sitting here being like, I'm the best player there is in the world, I'm this, I'm that, this is, you need to look at my numbers, look at this, look at that, okay, whatever. But Noxy has a way of going about the application process I think is going to be more detailed than just that one aspect, because you could be the best gamer that ever wants to play for us, but
Right.
you have racist stuff on Twitter, or you have arguments breaking out all the time over stupid things. That's where you're going to run into problems.
Yeah. So, firstly, I'm just going to be honest. I do look at that. I look at all your social media pages, just because the moment that you put in your application, I have your information.
Hmm.
I mean, that's just true. So I look at those things, I go, okay, this person seemed to have a level head. I look at all the content, not just your Twitter. I mean, I'll look at your Instagram, I'll look at your videos, I'll look at your Twitch, I'll look, make sure if I got to, I'll pull a background check on you.
Yeah.
Like, if I got to. So if I find out you're like a violent person or an aggressive person or somebody that just doesn't work well with teams, it's an instant no. Also, and this happened recently, we are getting a lot of applications in, but they're just not filling out certain parts of the application, right? So I made it, on the website where it is required for you to fill out that information. If you're not filling out the information correctly, um, there's no way for me to contact you, for one. Okay. So if I don't have your right contacts, I don't have your right information, one, I can't look you up.
Nope.
All right. Two, it's basically telling me you're either A, lazy,
Or you're not paying
or,
attention. Yeah.
or you're not paying attention.
Yeah. And those that don't know, the website is open to everybody, so you could join the forum. They have everything on there. We have different sections already set up, and that's the one cool thing too is Noxy set up basically to where it's a hub there separately, not on the Discord. And as soon as that he said that, I'm like, that's amazing, because I'm in a couple Discords where it's so basic and perfect, because guess what? Hey, you're playing Warzone. If you see anyone in Warzone chat, if anyone see in this chat, you know what's going on. You're going to play with them. Our stuff is set up. If you're in the Discord, anything said in this Discord is between you and the people in there. That's it. Makes your NDA a lot easier. And then if you need any help, whatever, every section's labeled out. It's like it was before, but more private and set up just for the team, which I agree with 100%.
Yeah. So I mean, all right. We have a couple streamers right now where they actively that's all they want to do is stream, right? Um, Currently the way I have this set up is there is a social chain. Okay. So in this social chain, doesn't matter if you're a Twitch streamer, a TikToker, a podcaster, whatever. If you make content, all of our members are going to see that. Period. Like, it's not even a debate.
Yep.
If you are a content creator and you're making content, The minute you drop it on your channel, the Ninth Warhounds takes that
It shows up.
information and it shows up right there.
Yep. And I've seen it when I do it myself. I get a notification when I start streaming. It says FOMOcast Chris is live. And I don't think people realize a lot of the people that um, I started following when I first started streaming, like, we've stayed friends like forever. And basically what ends up happening is they will do the same thing. Hey, so and so needs to make affiliate. So let's make sure that we go through with affiliate. So I love that because it takes 5 seconds to pop in there and say, hey, what's up? Like the stream, do whatever you're going to do. If you're not following them already, it's a good opportunity to go through and follow everyone in there. I know follow for follow does not work. I 100% know that.
No, it does not. Like follow for follow is like the worst thing that you can possibly do, and people don't
Yes.
even understand it. So basically what you're doing, there is, obviously follow for follow. Everybody understands that, he follows you, you follow them, right? Neither one of you are going to talk to each other ever
Nope.
again after that point.
Nope.
Never. Like, it doesn't matter. Even if they're in the same freaking ballpark, like, let's say you both play Fortnite, right? And you follow each other on Twitch. You're never going to talk to each other again because
Nope.
Fortnite is oversaturated.
Yep.
Just
there's too many people. And that's the big problem too. People think, oh, I have numbers. Well, guess what? If you're someone like me and you want to help a small streamer out, when I see you have 250 followers, and then 150 of them are follow for follows, I'm gonna just keep going through. I'm looking for someone that's got 50 or less. I get in moods. I follow everybody usually, but if I see someone that has enough, like a volume of followers, I'm gonna assume they're okay. They're on their way. They're making their way up. And the other problem too is if it's basically, I feel like your data is gonna be way off because most people that come in to follow you, like through a raid or through whatever, they're going to sit there and watch you for 10 to 15 minutes, maybe go, you know
right.
what? This is kind of cool. I'm going
You
to
know the
follow them
only
and I'll
way
keep
you're
coming
ever going to
through.
Right. You know the only way you'll ever see those people again, and this sounds really messed up to say, but the only way you'll ever see those people again is if you actually post and give them a notification saying that you're doing some sort of giveaway.
Yep. Yep. 100%.
The only way
100%.
you're ever going to see them again.
And that's what's crazy is if you watch some of these streamers, like, I don't know if you follow Alex Zedra. So she's the female character, the black hair from the first Warzone. She actually was the model for that character. She streams Warzone, and you would actually see, because I'll have her on every once in a while because I usually have two streams on when I'm doing work, and you'll see her stream. She'll put in the bottom, she'll change it saying giveaway time, and you'll see the number spike. It'll go from
Yep.
3,000 to 6,000 like that.
Yep.
And what I always look
So
for is, that's what I look for is, that's what the problem with follow for follow is. It doesn't work. Let's just say that it doesn't work.
so in the Warhounds, like basically what I'm doing is teaching these people, and some of them don't need to be taught. Like I'm really grateful if we get those people where they don't need to be taught, but I
Yes.
am teaching these people where, there is a point where you have to understand your channel is your channel. You can do whatever you want with it. All right. There are people out there, all right, that no matter what you do are going to be upset with how you do it. All
Yep.
right. Take Stone Thor, for example. All right. He's been one of my best guys for fucking years. All right. I've known him for a long, long time. But because I put an ad, he's now MrKingKnoxy. Okay. All right.
Well, and for
Whatever.
those who don't understand how the ads work, it's a pain in the ass to sit there and have your other browser open, go and click run ad while you're doing a stream, while you're doing whatever. Because hey, look, I get it. You're gonna take a break real quick instead of shutting the stream off or putting a thing up, you throw an ad up. That's a lot of guys do. But the problem is it's a pain in the ass, especially if you're focusing. I've never played Diablo. I've watched Noxy play it a few times, and it's a very intensive. You have to be focused. That's why I do stream Fortnite, is because I can have a chat with I can talk to chat and not have to worry about anything going on. It's not Warzone. Well, the new Warzone you kind of can a little bit too, but it's you can't focus as much because you're sitting there zooming in. So with the pre-ad roll stuff set up, I think that's a brilliant idea. I think that's great. I know a lot of people don't like it because I have to subscribe, and I'm like, no, you don't. And I go, and most of these ads, unless you're Joe Woe or someone big, they're like
Uh,
30 seconds. And so we had some technical issues, but we're back. And what I was just saying was, it's a sad reason to have someone out of your stream. It's a sad reason to have someone out of your life. But like we've said before, this whole time, everything that we're doing for the Ninth Warhounds is for the Ninth Warhounds. You're never gonna see someone saying it's for me, it's for them. Um, and even when people do promote themselves in chat or in the section designated for that, where they have the automated setup for it, um, I always tell people when I see that, like, hey, go in there and stick around for a while because they've changed a lot of stuff. Like, if you're lurking doesn't work the same anymore on Twitch. I know they made some adjustments and then people didn't like it and they made some adjustments back, but there's some times when you're doing stuff where you don't get credit for them being in the stream unless they've said something in chat. So,
Yeah, so that happens a lot. Twitch is really doing some things that are kind of sketchy in a sense.
yeah, just a little bit. Just a little
So
bit.
I just want to say, like, obviously, I'm not mad at Stone. He's just an example. But when I'm putting forth a lot of time into my stream, like you said, I have to be very focused. In Diablo, I don't know if you ever heard of hardcore mode, but if I literally die
Hmm.
once, it's game over. I have to start all over again. Like, um,
Really?
yeah, so dying in Diablo is a big deal. Uh, Am I
Yeah.
focused on chat all the time? No. Would I like to be? Sure. But
There's
let's be
some
real.
there's some difficulties there. Yeah, you have to. It's not it's not just saying, hey, I'm gonna stop here where I'm doing in the middle of it. So that's why what's what we're basically making the point. Pre roll ads, it is the easiest way to go. Me personally, the only reason why I don't run ads is because I don't have as many followers. Once you get
Right.
to a certain point, you have to, because there's no other point to it. I don't like
And
the
I'll also emphasize the fact that it's your channel and you can do what you want with it, right?
yeah, yeah,
Like,
exactly. And I don't mind people that I tell anyone, if you have over 500 followers and you're averaging 75 to 100 people watching a stream, do that pre-ad rolls, because I've never seen anyone lose people after doing a pre-ad roll. You know what I mean? It never happens. You'll see people drop off, but usually it's before they're doing it. People have their internet cut out. I know on my area, if you're trying to watch Twitch on your mobile phone not on Wi-Fi, it cuts in and out. I'll have to put it on audio only or whatever. So, it's just coincidence. So I think however you want to run your stream, do it. Don't don't do what Stone did, you know, because that it's sad. Like you said, you've known him for so long. He's been your number one for so long, and to do it all over the fact of ads is sad.
yeah, like, bro, like, dude, if you took like 3 minutes just to relax, I probably would have gave you a sub.
Right, that's the thing. So, um, it's it is what it is. I am happy that we're back. I'm happy that we're back in the way that we are, because what was crazy is when everything was going so well, if we would have had this type of system set up, it would have been glorious. Like it would have been insane, because there was legitimately, when you would check in, when I was working, I would check in the middle of the day and there would be like 30 people talking. You could never keep up with the chat. It was literally, the general chat group was literally, if you went out for 5 minutes, you wouldn't know what was being talked about because it would pass on that fast. And then you basically would go over to, the voice channels, and Noxy would be chilling in there every once in a while, and there would just be people popping into voice channels and chatting, and it was great. And that's what we're trying to create. We're probably going to go slow and steady. Um, I always tell people, if you message me, like Noxy messaged me today, and I was like, oh man, I fell asleep. It was a long night. The kid didn't want to sleep, so I was like, it was a long night. But guess what? We get back to you, and we're taking it slow, because guess what we want? We want exactly what has been envisioned, and it's going to happen just because of the simple fact that the approach we're taking. If you do have more questions, if you do have comments, I advise you to always reach out. Um, if you go to the website, there's a way to email Noxy about it, and I'm sure he'll respond to you in a timely manner, just to say, hey, look, this is what's going on. This is why we're doing it. And
So
you
like
know,
understand like your applications, your questions, everything like that. That's all going to my mobile phone. Like, so it doesn't matter where I'm at. If I have time to answer it, I will. Like the last guy that we had a problem with leaking the business email, I'm never gonna be just flat out rude to you.
right,
I'm always gonna show you some kind of respect, and that's just me being a good person. There is no other way to explain that other than, I am the most patient. I am the most patient person I can possibly be, especially when it comes to something like Ninth Gaming, where there are business things that you have to know, that you have to understand. And yes, you're a gamer. I totally get it. There might not be that thing that you understand.
right.
If you want to ask me.
Whatever can be shared will be shared.
Yeah.
And I think that's the key thing. Don't be demanding, the PIN code to his bank card.
Right.
That's not going to get answered. And that's just a joke. But also, I know people are going to ask, certain things that, hey, look, if you want a contract, you can see a contract, but you need to go through this process first, which is fine. But I do, if anyone has any questions, Noxy's been an open book with everyone. And legitimately, when he said we have two people that you guys know that are interested, but they're looking things over, they took a day, maybe they were in super quick.
Right.
And so that takes maybe some people are going to be like, well, I don't know if I trust that. Hey, like Noxy said, it's whatever you want to do. He's not forcing you to do this.
Okay, so
It's
this is
yeah.
this is a great example. Okay, so in the contract there's this clause in there that I really never even imagined would be in there. Um, so there's a death clause. I don't know if you saw that,
No.
but yeah, so there's a death clause, and basically it was asking me, okay, what happens to their percentage of the partnership should they die or something like that, right? And
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, I don't want their money. Like they're gone. Like I've never even thought of that. Why would I even care to think of that? They're freaking gone, dude. And why would I want their money?
And that's the way people think. I learned, I'll teach you people there before we leave you. I want to teach you something. I was taught by this guy when I worked for him, and he goes, the person you have to watch out for is the person who's so worried about getting screwed over because they're the ones that are doing the screwing over, and they know exactly what's going on. And sure enough, every boss that I've had that's been like, oh, are you trying to cheat me out of time, blah 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 blah, they're the ones that are doing something that's not acceptable. And and like we said, we're gonna dig into you. We're gonna go through your application. It's a serious thing. We don't want someone that's not one, in it for the right reasons, two, trying to abuse the system, or three, is just trying to get their feelers out there.
Right.
And do
So
know if you feel like you made a mistake. I know, like we said, the contract, you can, whenever you want to
so the
leave.
pillar and the number one thing that I put on the ninth Warhounds is all right. So remember how we used to have We Thrive, right?
Yes, yes,
All right. That got built on. All right. So it's now when one eats, we all eat.
yes,
We thrive. We
yes,
thrive because we're all eating.
yep,
Okay. So that really puts the emphasis on a team effort. You
yes.
know, that literally goes, okay, you can't be selfish about this at all.
And that was the problem in the end, is everyone was, what have you done for me lately? Why are you not supporting me? And I'm not trying to be mean, but the people that were saying that were never in my chat, were never in my stream until everything went down. And then magically they
Right.
showed up, and I'm like, why are you in my stream? You know, you're not Mike. Mike would be in my stream all the time whenever he wasn't driving or working. I always saw Mike in my chat. I'd be in Mike's chat. It was like, we were all in each other's chats. We knew who was there and who wasn't. And so,
Right.
and that's the one thing you got to remember too, is we never forget when you're starting out or doing whatever, no one forgets who was and wasn't in their chat.
Right.
So
So like the first person that ever donated to me on Twitch, Brainbuster W. All right. He sent me $3. I'll never forget that. That was
yes,
like 5 years ago.
yeah, see, and that's what people don't realize is it's the first time you get a sub. And what's funny is one of my first subs was somebody that I subbed to, but they're still subbed to me 6 7 months later. You know what I mean? No content. I've streamed last week. I streamed like 4 days, so I did pretty good last week. But it's one of those things where that's what we're trying to do. Like you said, you know, we all eat, we thrive.
Yeah.
That's what it is, and
So
that's the most important thing.
there's also going to be this thing where, like you were saying earlier about how we showcased a certain streamer, once a
Yes.
day, right? All right. So this became a problem to some people. And this is where I was like, okay, we really need to start filtering out some of these people because they're just all about themselves, right? It became a problem where they had an issue with that because they weren't getting views for that day. And I
Uh,
was like, dude, like, are you kidding me? Like, this ain't your time. You had your time yesterday. This is their time.
right.
Like, like, what is the issue? You already got rewarded. And then there were some that were like, well, we didn't get rewarded at all. I'm like, well, it's coming.
Well, and the funny part is too is if you were a smart person, you would game plan with other people and go, look, what time are you going to be streaming? That way, what you could do is you could stream before them. You could host the person that's going to be the featured person and support them in that way as well. And that's what's important to me. Like whenever I have less than 3 viewers, I don't host no one. I don't raid no one because it's not worth it because they bounce as soon as they get to the other thing.
Pretty
But
much.
if we're in our group and you're like, look, we're going to feature two people today. This person streams on the East Coast, so they're up at like 6 a.m. This person streams on the West Coast, they're up at 8 p.m. Now you got two people you can do it. You can literally, even if you just lurk, you click on that. That's the one thing I do love about Discord is if you click on the link, it takes you straight to the app and you can that's it. That's all you have to do. Nothing else. If you're on the computer, whenever I'm here working, I have my Discord up on one screen, I got the streams up on the other. It's fantastic. But I will say,
So, so this is future development for the Warhounds. All right. I'm going to just spill some tea here and show you guys, my game plan. All right. So people loved or hated the user spotlight. All right.
mhm,
And I feel like it was a beneficial thing. And the reason why is have you ever heard the old saying with wolves? Like, you know how they do their order in a pack?
yes.
All right. So the order of a pack, all right, you have a group of like 12 wolves or whatever. In that order, uh the weakest one and the smallest ones were
On the
always up
front.
front.
Hmm.
All right. They were never left behind.
Right.
The bigger ones were always in the back.
In the rear. Alpha is always the very last one. Second strongest is almost in the middle, and they protect their own.
Right. So, and the reason, is just so that, nobody falls behind, nobody gets, taken advantage of, and that's that. You know, what we have here is not just business, okay? Yes, there is a business model to it, but it's not just a business. Like, people don't really understand that. They always, they're on the fence about it all the time.
Yeah.
We'll call them the fence sitters, okay? Where they're like, oh, well, it's either business or it's personal. What is it, Noxy?
Yep.
And I'm like, why can't it be both?
Yeah, and I mean, that's the tough part is people see money involved. They think, oh, this is going to be a business deal. That's all it is. But um, I feel like if you actually look at anyone who looks at the contract and the way it's set up, it's not in a way that it's about making money. It's about dedication. And it's about making sure that you're fully vested into the program and what's going on. Because guess what? If you have no skin in the game, you're either going to, you do get the people who have no skin in the game who go all out and take care of everything. But 9 times out of 10, they're gonna fall to the wayside. They're not gonna help out. They're not gonna do anything for you, and then you're gonna end up with dead weight. So, um, I think that this is a great idea. I'm glad that you came on today because you've answered a lot of stuff. Um, do know to anyone that's listening or watching on YouTube, we will have Noxy on more often. I am going to try and work out with Noxy, potentially even getting the Twitch for the 9th. So that way, if we do a solo podcast or once I get the ability to host through Twitch with with the Skype or with any other video hosting service, we'll be able to do live ones so people could ask questions through the Ninth Warhounds. Because I do know when they would stream on the Ninth Warhounds account, everyone that was there randomly, it was insane. Like we got a decent amount of people viewing it. So that's what our goal. My goal is to get this more out there so we have more immediate feedback. Because I know there will be questions
So
once this
my
comes
only
out.
my only concern with that though is only because so I don't know if you saw that announcement I made earlier about this. So I basically said, basically we want to do our live streaming service only on YouTube.
Okay, yeah, no, that works.
Um, because the reason why is literally, for the most selfless reason I could possibly think of. Okay, so one, Stone Thor owned the Ninth Warhounds channel on Twitch.
Oh,
So like, yeah, that was his project, that was his baby, and that was something that he was working on.
so that's dead.
I could probably get it back, but I really don't care to even try at
No,
this
no, and
point
I
because
didn't
of
even
me and
think.
Stone
I didn't
Thor's.
even think about the YouTube aspect, and actually, that's easier because me being lazy, I don't have to edit videos; they stay there. So I'll be able to download it
Well,
straight from YouTube and be able to add the intros, outros, and do all that cool stuff.
and secondly, all right, so let's say the Ninth Warehouse Twitter or Twitter, Twitch gets affiliated, right? Guess what? That means as an organization that we're splitting our split even more.
Oh, yes, yes, you're right. Yeah,
You know what I mean?
that's
So
a good point.
I
Yeah,
really don't think that's a fair thing to do for our creators, where we go, okay, like you're already taking this much, now we
yeah,
have to take that and give some to Twitch just for no reason. Like I don't like that.
that's a good idea. Well, that's what I'll do. Then that's what I'm gonna do this week. I'm gonna work on getting going live on YouTube because I think it's actually somewhat easy. Just because I think we have enough followers so where we can go live from there. It would take like 5 seconds, and I think YouTube even has the option where I can actually put the intro into the YouTube. So when it starts, it does the intro, and then I come through on that. So
Right.
looks like I have a
Yeah.
project for today. Then
Yeah, I didn't know if you saw that topic or not. I was like,
no,
oh,
it's been a hectic day. My kid woke up so early. I was sleeping on the couch with him because he was like wanting to watch TV. So, but I do want to thank everyone who comes through, everyone who listens on Anchor, anyone who comes through on YouTube. Um, I know it takes a little while to get back up and running because this will be the second episode that comes out since we restarted, or actually technically third episode. Um, so I want to make sure, we're going to be talking because trust me, I've been playing a lot of games
oh,
lately,
oh,
and it's going to
before you
be,
quit, before
yeah.
you quit, I want to show you something really cool that I
Okay.
think you guys are gonna really enjoy.
Oh,
So, um, let me find it here. I have
and
two
for
of them
those
here.
listening, Noxy is reaching for grabbing something. He's going to bring it on screen. So if you're listening and you want to see what it
So
is, you have to go to YouTube.
this is a first edition Ninth Gaming T-shirt that we had for the first rendition ever for the Ninth Warhounds. This is something that Stone, me, all the guys worked on, right? So it's really basic. I don't know if you can see it. You see that logo right
Oh
there?
yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay. So it has the hashtag Ninth Gaming on there.
Yep.
We have hoodies, everything like that, right? We are going to bring back the first editions.
Okay. That's awesome.
And the reason why is because I understand fully. All right, 100% you guys. I know you guys are looking at those jersey prices and you're going, God damn, those things are expensive. Um,
They are. They're
they
very high
are.
quality. They're very high quality. I mean, like legitimate high quality. Like I can. It reminds me of a soccer jersey. It's really good.
So the jerseys, I mean, God, I mean, anywhere from what is it, like 75 to $100 for those
Yeah,
jerseys.
I think so the one that has the names, your name on it, that had the sponsors, that one was a little bit more expensive than the basic one, the first one, and then they had multiple different. I think they had a base jersey, then one that had more of a logo on it.
So I'm taking the idea from the first edition. So I'm going to see what we can incorporate with those. Maybe we can get the custom prints like we did on the jerseys,
Yeah.
but we're trying to target it so that the price is much lower.
Okay.
All right. So, I mean, way lower. We're talking like what, like $30 for a fucking casual shirt versus a
Yeah.
jersey.
Yeah. Yeah.
And let me just give you the best example I possibly can here and show you both. So this is my jersey. and this is the Warhounds, first edition, right?
Big
So
difference.
huge difference. All right, this
Yes.
thing is flashy as hell. All
Yes.
right, oh one, MrKingKnoxy, there I am. All right, so this is the thing. It doesn't really serve us well wearing this out in the streets.
Right.
Like, yeah, it's very flashy. Yes, it gets people's attention. But personally, me just talking about it, I'm not very comfortable explaining what that jersey is if I'm
Yeah.
out and about, Like, um, I feel like the first editions really did us justice, all right? It did hashtag Nights Gaming. So when you go on the socials and you type that in, you're
You
gonna
see it.
find out about us,
Yep.
Like
Exactly. So it's good advertising. I will say that.
for $100 jersey, I wouldn't want to mess it up. I
I
wouldn't want to
have
mess
I
it up.
have the first edition. I have not the first jersey that we were just the plain purple like the one you have with no name, and then I have the white one that has all the sponsors on it as well. So I try to wear that when I'm streaming. It's actually in the wash, which actually when I get off right now, I have to go change the laundry over. But
So
I will say this was important to me just because, as a general consumer of entertainment, I know people are going to say things about what we're doing, and if you don't know what you're talking about because there's lack of information, then that's on us. That's not on them because they can say whatever they want until we prove them wrong. So,
right.
um, and that's why it's great having Noxy on, and he will be on because I do need to get more. We do need to do a podcast about Diablo because that's popping up on my Epic Game Store every single day, and I'm
Dude,
like,
Diablo 4, that new and freaking trailer, I'm gonna do a reaction on that on YouTube like ASAP because that thing was freaking magical.
and that's what I was gonna say. I was like, what is? I was like, I have no idea what this is. I keep seeing commercials for World of Warcraft and for Diablo, and I have no idea about any of this stuff. So we'll make sure we'll have Noxy on to talk about that soon, just because I know the next episode I do want to do is on Warzone 2 because the update comes out this week, and it's going to be very important because there's a lot of clickbaity titles out there of stuff, and I have to go.
Right.
I have
So,
a big
so
rant
this
to
is
go
the
on.
thing, guys. This is proof in the pudding right here with Chris, is because like he's talking about Diablo and Call of Duty, right? All right, two different, very fucking different genres. All right, let's put
Very,
it out there. All
yeah,
right, so you have a competitive side, and you have like a grinding side that's for like items and stuff like that. All right, this is not about being the best in the world. All right, we are not CDL. We don't want to be CDL. All right, this is
CDL doesn't even want to be CDL anymore.
like we're not Phase Clan. We don't want to be Phase Clan. What we want to be are a group of creators that can entertain,
Yes.
one, and we also want to be these people that you can really connect with for two. And my personal goal has never been to be the best in the world. All right, actually, like when it comes to Diablo streaming, I'm one of the top Diablo streamers, but I don't want to be. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I I just don't. Like, I don't want to be that guy that has to go and sit down at a job for 12 hours a day and be the top of the ladder every single time I stream. Like, I don't want that.
And that's the big thing. Like I've said, is we're not here to make you, you know, Nick Mercs. We're not here to do if it so happens you become Nick Mercs and that's a part of your game plan, you're the next Nick Mercs. Hey, great, congratulations. But for me personally, it's about the group atmosphere, about the growing. Because listen, I know someone that does streaming part time. They literally, on average, right now they have 35 viewers. Weekends don't count for me because normally I feel like during the week is when you make your money. And when he streams at 6 o'clock in the morning during the week, he's got 75 viewers and he's making 3 grand a month through donations, through bits, through all this different kind of stuff. And he's streaming 4 hours a morning, and that's it. Because guess what? When you're on the West Coast like me, you better stream from like 4 o'clock in the morning till 8 because you ain't going to be streaming at 9 a.m. when all
Right.
the big guys come on. That's why I
So,
stream at 9 or 10 o'clock at night because everyone else has gone to bed, you know?
so when I was like top guy on the Diablo channels for Twitch, I was bringing home like anywhere between 250 to 300 people per stream
Yep.
actively watching me. And it got to the point where I'm like, okay, like, this was a game that I loved, and now it's more of a job,
Yep.
and that's great to have, like, I'm not discrediting it at all. If you want it to be a job, then great, have it be a job. But you really have to evaluate and understand. It's like, okay, do you want this as a job or do you want this as a passion?
Yeah.
Like
Because
there
they
are
don't,
things.
because you got to break it out. If you wanted to be a job and your passion, that means that once you hit that point where you're doing, like you said, 8, 12 hour streams, you need to realize that once you hit that starting point, you have 6 months to 8 months before you're able to take a break, because once you stop streaming, you're gonna lose it. And one person that I follow, like Joe Woe, amazing. He moved apartments, and all of a sudden he was down like 3 or 4 thousand viewers. He normally was doing 8 or 9, and he was only doing like 3. And that may be a lot to some people, but that's not a lot to him because he's got a certain lifestyle that he needs to uphold. And it's why when he did come back, he was doing those 12, 13 hour streams when he normally only does 8 hours. So
Right.
you just know
So
coming
like,
into this that, you do need to know what your goal is in the ninth as
right.
well.
So not just in the ninth, but in general in life. Okay. So
Yeah.
like before I even made ninth even a thing, I could have been a partner on Twitch.
Yeah. Yeah.
I could have been a partner. I said no. And the reason why is because I evaluated and I sat there and said, okay, well, there are people that are actively hitting me up going, I want to do something like this. And I was like, okay, 9 Warhounds, we'll do it.
Yeah. Plain and simple. And that's it. And then you know what the thing is too is people don't realize, once you do go partner, you do, while it's a great advantage in some aspects, unless you're the top 5, you're not going to get any benefit out of it for the most part.
Well,
It's all your own work.
and there's business there too that you guys have to understand. If I become a partner on Twitch, I can't make YouTube.
Nope. Nope.
Like,
You have to, your content, because when you become affiliate, you're allowed to stream on other platforms, but Twitch has to be the primary one. So if you stream on Twitch on Tuesday at 2 p.m., at 6 p.m., you could go live on YouTube. But if you
right.
did not stream on Twitch that day, you cannot stream anywhere else if you haven't streamed on Twitch that day yet.
And it's
Um,
not even the stream thing. So it's just your content in general.
yes.
Like, so
Yes.
like if like you said, if I was streaming at 6, all of that content that is there 24 hours, it can't go on YouTube,
Yep.
period.
Yep. And there's a reason why I think a lot of these guys, you taking that advantage and they have a editor or something like that where they actually do the clipping and taking care of everything, because it gives them 2 days to put it up on YouTube and whatnot. And I think that is why Tim the Tap Man went to YouTube, because it's very restricting.
I
And
mean, like I
you
was
know,
saying earlier, if the ninth Warhounds was to stream on Twitch, you're splitting your split. You're
yep,
making less money. So why
it's
would I
true.
not take that to YouTube? You know?
Yeah. And the live, I do know when you go live on YouTube, you get a lot more people coming in, because it's not. The one thing I will say, YouTube, if you're listening, my main complaint about YouTube is the fact that when I search Call of Duty live gaming, all I get is highlights from the people that I follow. I do not get anything from random
Yeah.
people streaming, and I can't figure out how to fix that.
So I think it's kind of a mixed bag between both platforms, really, because both platforms have a real discoverability problem.
Yes.
Like, if you're new and starting on Twitch right now, good luck
Yep.
because it's oversaturated.
Big
Nobody's going to
time.
discover you because you are buried in the bottom, very bottom of the
And
pages.
same thing with Facebook. I knew a lot of people that switched over from Facebook to Twitch because Facebook just was destroying people's streams.
Like, it's one of these things where, you have to understand, like, yeah, okay, I can go over to YouTube and I can stream on YouTube, but guess what? Their discoverability
Less than
broken in
Twitch.
it is broken in a different manner, right?
Yep.
So
Yep.
obviously, you're not getting hits because nobody can find you for one.
Yep.
but their entire page itself, it's been made around the whole not live platform.
Yep.
So now they have to do something about that. And
And they're not doing a very good job of it. I can tell you that right now because I was trying to find a streamer that I had followed before, and literally I could not find them. And when I searched Call of Duty on the live section, all it showed me was Tim the Tatman and Dr. Disrespect old videos. Because that's the one thing I do not like as well is it's not bad. But let's say, for instance, Ninth Warhounds went together and we got 18 hours of compilations of everyone playing different games. We could create a supercut and have it stream live on YouTube as a rebroadcast, but it shows up as live. So their algorithm is a little screwy on that one. Um,
it's totally screwy. So like we'll use our page for example, right? If you were to search Ninth Warhounds, the top three things, one is one of your podcasts. The other one is from this random, I think it's like Warhammer. Yeah, Warhammer 40K.
and
Like,
I think the problem is because it's tied to Google. It's like when you're doing a Google search and it shows your result and it does not include basically four of the five words that you put in it. And it's like, why do you just search follower? And I said like, and whatever you typed in, let's say I'm looking at Boston Breach. They're playing right now in CDL, but then all of a sudden they're like, it doesn't include Breach and it doesn't include CDL. It just includes Boston and it's like Boston Tea Party. It
yeah,
doesn't make any sense, and I think that's the problem. Is the algorithm for YouTube and for Google are basically the same kind of setup, and they just kind of figure out, hey, this is what you're gonna want to listen to, I guess, or watch. I don't know.
yeah. So it's really weird, is because like the whole system in itself, not just because of the algorithm, but like the whole prioritization, right? So when I search Ninth Warhounds, I want the page to be up top,
Yep.
right? It's not. It's number three.
And you actually, I think you have to. I think if you go into a certain search, you can do that. I also have the frustration with my son likes watching this one channel where the family only does like 5-minute videos. You have to go into the channel, then you have to go into the full video list, then you have
Yeah.
to click play all because if you play it and for some reason that's the newest video, it won't play more of their own videos. It goes to a different channel and it doesn't make any sense at all. And I'm like, how is this logical? It doesn't make any sense. But
And I think one of the reasons why we're designing this the way we are too is for that convenience in mind. Because let's say you go to ninthwh.com, right? You want to listen to the podcast. All right. It
bam,
says
it's
right
right
there,
there.
bam, listen to the podcast.
Yep.
It's not, counterintuitive. Yes, it gives you even more options after that, I think. Hold on, let me check. Podcast, so you click that, and then it gives you the two options, I believe, where you can actually watch it on YouTube or listen to it. Like
There you go. It's
it's one
it's
of those
easy.
things. Yeah, it's one of those things where I'm looking at it going, okay, even the platforms that we are on are having problems.
Yep.
These are things that we have to work on.
Exactly. And that's what I'm proud of. I'm happy. I'm looking forward to the future. And I do say go to the website, start there, re-listen to this, what we've talked about today, so you can get a gist of it. If you have more questions, like I said, reach out to Noxy. You can even reach out to myself through the podcast. I don't mind answering any questions that you have that I can. But like I said, Noxy always answers. He's always got his phone on him. He's always available. So don't hesitate to ask. And we will get into more details on Diablo the next time, just because I need to know more about this because it looks confusing but awesome at the same time.
Well,
And yeah.
after this, I'll try to explain some things to you, because literally after this, I got to start a Diablo stream.
Okay. So
So,
I will watch it while I'm doing my laundry and editing this. But I do want to thank Noxy for coming on. I want to thank everyone for watching, everyone for listening. Um, if you do want to find us on our socials, everything is down below. You can search MrKingKnoxy. You're going to find him on almost every single platform underneath that name as well. I'm FOMOcast Chris. I don't have any social media for my actual name. I'm actually Grizzle CEO. I think
oh
no.
yeah,
I changed it. I'm Beard or Bust on Instagram, and then I'm FOMOcast Chris on Twitch. And if you search FOMOcast Chris. I think it's on YouTube. I can't remember. I
Yeah,
kind of
so I know
stopped
you
the
got
unboxings.
YouTube.
Yes.
Your Twitter is just FOMOcast.
Is just FOMOcast on Twitter, correct? So the FOMOcast Chris is the only thing I do is use it for now as my gaming tag, but Beard or Bust is my favorite because I've sold my other Instagram handles, so I'm trying to I try to find funny ones, and this one I think I'll keep because you know I need to keep one for longer than a couple of years.
Well, that's the huge challenge I was having, dude. Like when I started out, there were people out there that already have my name. There's like a rapper in Europe that has my name, King
Yeah.
Noxy,
Okay. Yeah.
and I didn't know that. So I was like, crap. Well, now what do I do? So I had to change it to Mr. King Noxy, right? And
Yeah.
I think the only one that isn't Mr. King Noxy now is my Instagram handle because somebody claimed it.
Well, what's crazy is so FOMOcast, my other podcast, somebody has that on because my on in Twitter it's FOMO underscore cast because somebody has FOMO cast. They haven't tweeted in like 8 or 9 years, something like that, and it was in Spanish and they had one tweet. So I have no idea what it was, and it was before my time, and I'm not going to pay for it. So, but find those handles. Look down below in the YouTube has all the links. I will put a link to the Ninth Warhounds website in the Anchor.fm, which will show up in everywhere. So I do want to thank Noxy again. Thank you guys all for coming through.
The
And
the the big thing we have to do, and I noticed this right away when you're dropping your videos. I don't know if you've seen this, but how we have like the Maw Energy link and everything like that.
uh-huh.
Those are not working.
Okay.
Okay,
That's good to know.
so
Don't click those
not,
ones. Just click the Ninth Warhound one.
yep, yep. So the Ninth Warhounds has all the right links. For some reason, that just never updated. So we got to get that
Okay.
fixed.
Okay. Well, then go to the Ninth Warhounds and follow all those links because we got some good stuff on there. So thank you guys all again, and we'll see you guys next time.